Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name's Eric and welcome back to a brand new video here on the Bioshock Hub. A while ago I posted a video about one of the most scary and terrifying jump scares in Bioshock, that being the Voice of Silence, and I got a overwhelmingly positive response, and there was also some comments addressing some other scary instances. So that made me think of a good idea. And I'm going to take a lot of those other scary instances that you guys put in the comments of that video. So, with that being said, we're going to be taking a look at 10 of the scariest and most terrifying enemies that you encounter within the Bioshock series. If I missed one, or if you want to add to that list, please put it down in the comment section below. Without further ado, sit back, relax, and would you kindly enjoy the video. Now, first and foremost, these are not going to be in any particular order. Number 10 isn't going to be any more terrifying than the number 1 slot, so it's just 10 enemies in general. So in at number 10, we have the Beasts from Bioshock Infinite. Now, the reason why these guys are so terrifying, and you need to be playing on the hard difficulty to really get the full experience of this, is because they're surrounded by armor. And it seems like no matter how many times you shoot them, nothing happens. You shoot and shoot and shoot, nothing. It's like you're shooting a BB gun at them. Like I said, they're surrounded with armor, or their entire body is covered with armor, and they have things like a volley gun or an RPG. So if you're playing on something like 1999 mode, these guys are going to mess you up. And if you come across one when you're not expecting it, yeah, pretty terrifying if I do say so myself. Coming in at the number 9 slot in today's video is arguably the face of the franchise, that being the Big Daddy. Now, I want you to go back in time when you first played the original Bioshock. You're roaming around, doing what Atlas is telling you to do, and you come across your first Big Daddy. At that point, you really don't know what to do to beat it. You don't know if there's any mechanics in the game. You don't know what type of armor at that point of time is good against them. You don't know what weapons are good against them. And the fact, let's say you decided to put it on hard mode, this guy would absolutely destroy you. Unless you're extremely good at the game first try, then I commend you for that. But, again, that first initial experience is what did it for me, and hopefully you guys are fond of the Big Daddies as well. For the number 8 slot, we'll be going from the Big Daddy to the Big Sister from Bioshock 2. Hearing that piercing screech, having that intense battle between the Big Sisters, and just having them actually be one of the more unique enemies you get to fight makes them a badass enemy first and foremost, and secondly, I want you to go back to when you started playing Bioshock 2 again. You had no idea what this was. Obviously, we knew what the Big Daddy was going into Bioshock 2 from Bioshock 1. However, if you didn't play or experience There's Something in the Sea, you would have no idea what a Big Sister was. You would have no idea what they did to actually bring young girls to Rapture in order to turn them into little sisters. So not only are they a terrifying enemy, the screech is terrifying, but their entire backstory is terrifying as well, and the acts that Sophia Lamb has them commit are absolutely horrendous. If you want to check out a video all about the Big Sisters and their backstory, I'll provide a card at the top right hand corner of the screen for you guys to check out. So in at the number 7 spot of today's list, we're going to be going back to the intro of this video with the Voice of Silence. Just that jump scare alone, and you guys know which one I'm talking about. That did it for me. But as I dug more and more into the backstory, and if you guys want to check out that video, I'll put a card at the top right hand corner of the screen as well. These guys should have been a much more formidable enemy. There were a lot of things that were cut out from them, and ultimately it was really unfortunate. You would have been able to actually fight them, they would have had a lot more of a boss type of mechanic, and yet it was cut from Bioshock Infinite along with many other things. So, the Boys of Silence really could have been one of, if not the most terrifying enemy within the Bioshock franchise if all of that content was left in the game. However, they did leave us with a memorable jump scare. So for the number 6 slot, let's move on to Bioshock 2 again. Let's look at one of the most unique, one of the most powerful, and honestly one of the most badass splicers that we've ever seen within the franchise. That being the Brute Splicer. Not only could he kick your ass, throw you around like a ragdoll, and simply be a terrifying presence, he would actually terrify you by giving you some random jump scares. For example, you can be in a fight with a group of splicers, with a big daddy, or a big sister, or all three, and randomly you hear a Brute Splicer come out of nowhere just so he can get into the scrap. That is a rather interesting way to introduce yourself into a fight, and it's pretty terrifying, especially if you have all of these different elements that you're fighting at once, and on top of that, you have to add the Brute Splicer. Let me know what you guys think of this character down in the comment section below, and let me know if you think that Bioshock 2 either overutilized or underutilized the Brute Splicers. I'm definitely interested in hearing your guys' opinions. Now, speaking of underutilized enemies, let's move on to the number 5 slot from Bioshock Infinite, that being the Handyman. I wish we could have gotten more fights with these characters. Not only are they imposing when you look at them, not only are they terrifying when you get into a random fight with them, and when they can actually smack the shit out of you on the harder difficulties, there's a sense of dread. There's a sense of empathy. These are people still, and we don't normally get that within the Bioshock franchise. Splicers are usually out of their minds. Big daddies and big sisters, they've gone insane, except for Delta and Sigma. The Handyman was essentially a last resort for a person going through an illness like cancer. And you can actually hear when you're shooting them crying out in pain, or them saying that their body is hurting them. So not only is it terrifying the fact that you have to fight them, but it's also terrifying and rather depressing when you hear audio lines like that. It's pretty sad. Honestly, it's pretty sad. Now let's move on from one Bioshock Infinite enemy to another, that being the motorized Patriot at our number 4 spot. So this one, in my personal opinion and in my personal experience, gave me a couple of cheap jump scares, more specifically in the Hall of Heroes level. Now, as most of you know if you've played the game, their weak spot are the gears that are on their backs. However, trying to shoot them or trying to stun them then shoot them is a little bit easier said than done. And the fact that they bring an army with them essentially when you fight them, that's the terrifying part. Not only do you have to deal with a motorized Patriot that can smack the crap out of you on the higher difficulties, you have to deal with all the enemies that surround them as well. And the thing is, sometimes you have to fight off 2 or possibly 3 motorized Patriots with said enemies guarding them. So it is a pretty terrifying experience and a pretty scary experience having to go up against all of them with just you and 2 weapons and a select few vigors of your choosing. Now, staying with the theme of Bioshock Infinite, let's move on to our number 3 spot on today's list. This enemy in particular gave myself and a lot of other people nightmares when trying to complete Infinite on 1999 mode, and that is the Siren or the Ghost of Lady Comstock as well. These are terrible enemies in terms of overall jump scares because there are quite a few within Infinite, but the amount of bullets that it actually takes to put a Siren or the Ghost of Lady Comstock down is absolutely absurd. Thankfully, there's a couple of glitches and a couple of strategies that you can implement to take them down pretty quick, but just hearing them screech and shriek and make all of these hideous noises, it's bad. It's really bad. And imagine being younger and trying to experience that and not liking those noises as well. I think the most terrifying experience, honestly, is just trying to do 1999 mode and trying to kill Lady Comstock. That makes me hate the Siren as a character, so let me know what you guys think of the Sirens or the Lady Comstock fight down in the comment section below. And now we're down to our final 2 spots of this list. So for number 2, I'm going to include an enemy from both Bioshock 1 and Bioshock 2, that being the Spider Splicers. Not only are these guys absolutely terrifying to look at, they are incredibly unique in terms of the overall enemy type itself. Not only can they crawl on the walls like actual spiders, hence the name, they can throw their hooks at you as weapons, they're incredibly quick, and on the higher difficulties, they're incredibly tanky. Again, going back to jump scares, there's a couple of them with the Spider Splicers, and there's a couple with the next one on our list as well, but I think overall, in my personal opinion, the Spider Splicer is my personal favorite, and it's one of the most terrifying and scary ones throughout the whole entire series. If you agree with that, let me know. If you disagree, also let me know. Now finally, we come down to our number 1 slot and the character that you guys chewed my ass out about on the Boys of Silence video, and now I do agree. That being the Plaster Splicers. So, what makes them terrifying? Well, there's a multitude of reasons. First and foremost, for one, they can either be sitting on a bench or standing in a pose, completely still. You look at them, they don't move. You look away from them, you look back, and all of a sudden, they're gone. You don't hear them moving around, you don't hear them making a noise, nothing. You turn around, they're standing right in front of your face. So, jump scare right there, and the reason why they can't make noise, obviously, is because they're coated entirely in plaster. Secondly, again, the whole no noise factor. You can be wandering around Fort Frolic. You can try to enjoy some of the slot machines at the casino. You could be exploring some of the different buildings. And yet, all of a sudden, a splicer pops out of nowhere that A, you can't hear, and B, it just randomly comes out of nowhere. So, there's a lot of jump scares with that as well. And again, I do apologize for not posting that as the most terrifying jump scare, because they do have quite a few. So ladies and gentlemen, if you made it all the way through this video, thank you so much for watching. If you guys want another list, please let me know as to what you would like to see in that next list video down in the comment section below. The person with the most amount of thumbs up on their comments, I will do a video on that and shout you out in the video, so it's all up to you guys. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more, would you kindly hit that subscribe button, turn on all post notifications to never miss a video or a live stream when I go live, and also if you want to talk to me outside of YouTube, Twitter and Instagram are the best ways to do so. All my social media links will be down in the description below. If you want to check out a couple more videos that I've done, which are some pretty good ones, they will be popping up on this screen here in a couple of seconds. I'd highly recommend checking them out and letting me know what you think down in the comments of those videos. And with that being said, stay safe, make sure you're keeping yourself entertained during this quarantine, make sure you're keeping yourself clean, sanitized, all of that jazz. And with that being said, I will talk to you in tomorrow's video. Take care.